Hi guys, welcome back. And for today, I'm going to give you a short video about the exam preparation. So it's basically the exam preparation tips and tricks. Crack your CISM exam and pass it in the first attempt. So basically, it's a CISM exam cheat sheet. I would say cheat sheet better. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the before we start with the CISM exam cheat sheet, let's have a look at the CISM exam domains. So according to Izaka, CISM has four domains. Yeah. The first domain is about information security governance. So it's actually about 24% of the exam. So you'll see roughly around 24% of the exam, and the questions will be, you know, ranging from 20 to 24 something. Yeah. And then we have domain two, information risk management, around 30% of the exam. This is actually the highest in terms of the domain coverage as well as the number of exam questions. And then domain three, information security program development and management, 27% of the exam. And domain four, information security management, which has about 19% of the exam, or we're talking about the coverage, 19% of the exam. So you'll see roughly around 125 to 150 question. I'm not very sure about the latest updates based on Izaka's website. So to be successful in your CISM exam, you will need to master all of these four domains: information security governance, information risk management, information security program development and management, and information security incident management. So basically, CISM is a very good certification for those who are working as a security manager or information security manager slash cybersecurity manager. Okay. Okay. Now let's have a look at the tips, practical tips. Number one is to read Izaka's exam candidate information guide. This information guide will give you the rough, uh, not really rough, in fact, detailed information regarding how to take the exam, the rules of thumbs, the rules of the exams, and so on and so forth. Right. So you have to read the exam candidate. Okay. You can actually download this from the Izaka's website. And then number two or second is to learn. As the CISM, you've got to learn to think like a manager, but try not to think like a manager based on your current daily activities. You will think about being a good manager, information security manager, based on Izaka's guideline. So it's not about what you're actually doing right now or what you have done previously or what you did earlier. Yeah. So you need to make sure that your what do you call this, your knowledge and skills are related to the information security, being an information security manager as per Izaka's requirements. And then number three or third, make good use of the right resources. You can actually get several resources from you know um, the internet, right? You can get from Izaka's website. You can buy the CISM review manual, or even the CISM question answers question and answers manual. Yeah, I would really suggest that you get the the CISM review manual, the latest edition, as well as the latest edition of the CISM uh, review question. And they call it as CISM question and answers review manual, something like that. I can't really remember the complete title. Okay, and then you might also try to, practice using an online resources from several websites. A lot of resources are there. Some are free, some are, paid with membership or something like that. Then move on to number four, or fourth step is take the practice exams, right? And then when you talk about the practice exam, after you have read or get the right resources, read the manual, read the sample questions, then it's time to do the practice exam. Yeah, do it as frequent as possible. And then number five, or the fifth step, is to create a study plan. You might want to, study maybe 1 to 2 hours a day. Just it's actually based on your preference, yeah, your availability of time, yeah. And you might want to first read the manual and then go for quizzes or practice exams. It's up to you. Yeah, I would really suggest to start with the study plan by by including your what do you call this as review time. Yeah, maybe like 1 to 2 hours a day within, let's say, a month. Yeah, to get prepared with the topics, to understand and comprehend the topics. Then you go for the practice exams, right? And then number six, or steps number six, or six, the sixth step, yes, six, this is actually regarding involving in exam prep course. You might want to enroll online course, or even offline, or the course that will allow you to have the interaction with your instructor, the instructor led training, right? Although sometimes they are expensive, but they would really help assist you to passing your exam. Okay? Um, so if you have enough fun to get involved in exam preparation, I would really suggest you to attend an exam prep course. It is also very important in number seven here, or step number seven, or the seventh step, to join the CISM exam study community. You can actually find some of these in Facebook or LinkedIn or Telegram. Yeah, try to discuss with them, with the members, regarding your study plan, and share. They might want to share some of the sample question that you might want to get familiarized with. Yeah, and then the last step, number eight, or the eighth step, is to prepare for your exam day. Yeah, for the exam, before you take the exam, don't focus on studying too hard. You need to study those domains maybe a month, or even at least a week before your exam day, so you will not get stressed and really prepare for your actual exam. Yeah, like what I did when I took my CISM exam. I didn't really study the night before or the day before my exam day, but I tried to to be what do you call this, unstressful, or just relax, and try to memorize several things that you have already learned maybe in a few weeks prior to your exam, right? So it's very important to make yourself relax, unstressful, before you take the actual exam, because the exam itself is really tough. And if you do not have enough preparation, definitely you'll fail. Okay. Okay, so these are the CISM exam practical tips. Now, let's have a focus on number 4. We'll take a practice exam. So we will focus on this, on understanding the exam questions. All right. So that's the main objective of the video. So we'll focus on the taking practice exams. Yeah. Uh, for that, let's have a look at several questions related to the CISM. Okay. Okay. Let's start with question number 1. Let me read this. Which of the following is most effective in preventing weaknesses from being introduced into existing production systems? Right. A. Patch management. B. Change management. C. Security baseline, or virus detection. So when we talk about preventing weaknesses, right, security baseline will not really help us. Yeah, security baseline is just a baseline or a standard, right? D, C, security baseline, not really that good. Yeah, not a solution. D, virus detection is also related to preventing, but it's not about preventing weaknesses from being introduced. It's more about malware, right? So C and D are definitely not our choices or our choice, right? So we have left with patch management and change management. So let's have a look at the keywords here. Effective, most effective in preventing weaknesses. Change management might be a good preventive measures. Yeah. To what you call this, to be introduced in existing production system. Yeah. But change management regularly used in the development, like software development or something like that. It is also possible to use the change management in or to apply change management in an existing production system. So it's a bit, tough to choose between A, patch management, and change management. Okay. Now, I might think about, yeah, or some of us might think about, selecting change management. But let's have a look at the right answer. Well, the right answer is A, patch management. So it's about directly about preventing weaknesses in an existing production system, because change management can be applied in both, development and production systems, right? Remember that it is according to what ISACAs want, yeah, based on the industry best practices. So patch management is the correct answer for this particular question, number 1. So the most effective in preventing weaknesses from being introduced into existing production systems is patch management. So it's like patching your server, patching your software, or something like that, right? Let's have a look at the question number 2. Excuse me. Okay, let me read this. Security monitoring mechanisms should primarily A, focus on business critical information. B, assist owners to manage control risk. C, focus on detecting network intrusions. Or D, records all security violations. Now, when you talk about security monitoring, yeah, mechanisms, they exist. In fact, primarily in terms of protecting our business critical information or even assets. Yeah, right. So I myself will think about A, because business critical information such as that can be considered as your asset is very important. So everything you do to protect your asset, including assessment, monitoring, risk assessment, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, all other controls or mechanism that should be used to focus and protect our mission critical information or business critical information. So let's check whether the answer is correct or not. A is the correct answer. That's right. Why? Because as already mentioned that the main reason why we have the security is to protect our business critical information or business critical asset. So you should focus on business critical information. Yeah. So security monitoring mechanisms should primarily focus on business critical information. That's number two. Let's have a look at question number three. So here we have 8 questions. We'll review this in from the perspective of the candidates. Yeah. Okay, number three, which question number three, which of the following is the most important to keep in mind when assessing the value of the information? Now, when we talk about the value, cost is there. Yeah, so we might choose or select B, the cost of recreating the information, or even C, the cost of insurance coverage. Yeah. But most likely, the answer is A because it's about value, the potential financial loss. What if your asset got hacked? What if your data, sensitive data or sensitive informations are being, disclosed because of the hacking activities, or there are some data disclosures, right? So most likely, I myself would choose A, the potential financial loss, because it's about value of the information. Value can be anything. Yeah. Value could also relate to cost of creating or recreating the information or insurance coverage, but everything combined aggregated into potential financial loss. Let's check the answer. Sorry. D, regulatory requirements most likely not related to the value of the information. So I might just choose A. Let's check the answer. See, I'm right. Potential financial loss is about, or it's actually closely related to value of the information. So when you assess the value of information, potential financial loss is the most important. That could also include everything, every single cost, recreating the information, or even cost of insurance coverage. All right. So that's number three. Move on to number four. Let's check this question. Let me read this. When a proposed system change violates an existing security standard, the conflict would be best resolved by A, calculating the risk, B, enforcing security standard, C, redesigning the system change, or D, implementing mitigation control. Yeah. So when you talk about, let's say you have an existing security standard and there's a conflict, yeah, with the proposed system change, right? So remember what is actually the purpose of the change management. The main objective or the purpose, or the, yeah, I would say the objective of change management is to ensure that changes in the system would not introduce a new risk. So because it is actually related to the risks, yeah, most likely the answer is A. Now, B, enforcing security standard, may not be the correct answer because we cannot really enforce the security standard, especially if it is actually, or if that particular, standard is conflicted with, proposed system change or something like that. Yeah. Even redesigning the system change might not really the good answer because there's already a conflict. Yeah. If you want to redesign, it might take more time. The implementing mitigation control is also not really related to this question. So think about risk. Always think about risk. So when you propose system change that violate the security standard, you will need to consider the risk. Okay, let's check the answer. Now, the correct answer here is A, which is based on my experience, risk is always there. Yeah. So this conflict would be best resolved by calculating the risk, considering the risk. What would be the risk if you know, propose any system change or changes that might violate your security standard, your existing security standard, right? All right, so number four is done. Number five. Let's have a look at number five. Let me read this. Which of the following is the most important consideration when securing customer credit card data acquired by a point of sale cash register? Now, the keyword here is actually securing customer credit card. If you choose authentication, well, it's not really about securing, although authentication means access control. Okay. How about hardening? Well, hardening is more about, perhaps the operating system, the server, the workstation, but this is actually a point of sale cash register. How do we do the hardening? Again, focus on the keyword, securing customer credit card data. Most likely the answer is C, encryption, because non-repudiation, D, is not about securing. It's more about, you know, maintaining the integrity of the customer credit card, maybe. Yeah. So encryption most likely is the correct answer. Let me check the answer. Okay, C is the correct answer, because again, when you want to secure your customer credit card data, this can be done in many different ways. For example, remember the data address, data in transit, and uh, data in process, or in, yeah, data in process. Yeah. So data address, data in transit, and data in process. Yeah, all should be what you call this, secured by using encryption. Okay. All right. Number five is done. Let's move on to number six. Let me read this. Which of the following is the most important for a successful information security program? So when we talk about information security program, we have learned in CISM that everything that you will do, even the strategy, must be equipped or must be supported by the management. So obviously the answer here is the executive management commitment. Training will be later on. Open communication would also be number two. But the question asked about most important. Yeah. So I would choose executive management commitment first, then number two would be open communication, then number three, maybe adequate policies, standards, and procedures, then finally adequate training and emerging security technologies. So D would be the correct answer. Let's check. See, I'm my answer is correct. Okay, so executive management commitment is the first thing that you need before you do anything in your corporation, in your enterprise organization. The rest would come later. Okay, let's move on to number seven. Two more questions. Okay, let me read this. The main mail server of a financial institution has been compromised at a super user level. Okay, the only way to ensure the system is secure would be to can you change the root password? Well, the hacker is already there. Yeah, because the mail server has been compromised with a super user level. So the hacker has the highest privilege level. Changing the root password would be too late. A most likely will not be the correct answer. Let's move on to B, implement multi-factor authentication. This could be later on because the hacker with super user level is already there. We will think about a hacker who has compromised the server with super user level. He or she might, you know, might have left the, what do you call this, the backdoor or Trojan. So changing root password would be not good. Implement multi-factor authentication could be later on after the restoration. Now, disconnect the mail server from the network is also too late. Yeah, because he's already there. I mean, the guy is already there. Yeah, the most likely possible answer is C. Why? Because rebuilding the system from original installation medium would be the best, what do you call this, course of action, because we knew that the hacker has been able to compromise the server with super user level. We are, I mean, as the let's say security administrator, I will think about the probability of the hacker leaving the backdoor or Trojan that could be accessible at any time by the hacker, right? So changing the root password, implement multi-factor authentication, and disconnect the mail server will not really help. The best way is to rebuild the system from original installation medium to ensure that whatever he or she left will not really affect our system. So they won't be able to, what do you call this, connect to the system or, go back and forth at any time, because we have already removed everything and then, start with the original installation media and got the server cleaned up. Okay, let's check the answer. See, the correct answer is C, rebuild the system from original installation medium. So my reason is correct. Yeah, because the hacker has compromised the server with a super user level, we are afraid that he or she might have left the or might install backdoor. So the best way is to rebuild the system. No way, no way, no other way. Because if even if you patch the system, who knows? The backdoor is still there. Okay. The last question, which of the following is the most important area of focus when examining potential security compromise for a new wireless network? Most of us will you know, think about D as the correct answer, encryption strength. Well, that's actually correct. But see, potential security compromise. Encryption strength depends on what type of encryption being utilized. For example, WEP, WPA, or WPA2. At least they have encryption set, right? How about signal strength and bandwidth? Signal strength and bandwidth might be considered later, because signal strength is normally related to the coverage areas that maybe the hacker outside can actually connect to our network. Now, let's try B as the correct answer. Yeah. So number of administrators, because having multiple administrators might, increase or might introduce risk of, let's say, misconfiguration or, improper usage or improper privilege access, on so on and so forth. Okay. All right. So D is possible, but not really that good, because the most important area that we should focus is actually about having privileged users, having several numbers of administrators. What do you call this? Reflect the the privileged users access. So our potential security is at risk. Okay, let's check the answer. Yes, the answer is number of administrators. Why? Again, let me elaborate this. The number of administrators actually represent, potential risk. Yeah, by having several numbers of administrators with higher privilege or privileges would increase the potential security components, maybe due to the insecure password being selected, or maybe misconfiguration. So anything about the high or higher privilege access should be considered as risk. Yeah. Okay. So again, don't forget that we need to practice. I would really suggest that if you got, you know, the knowledge needed to prepare your with your CISM exam, yeah, you should actually, do more practice, do more, question answers. Yeah, because practice will make perfect. Yeah, of course, if you are new, I would really suggest to start with reading the material before going into the practice questions or something like that. Because when you do the practice questions, it will give you, a wider view of what Izaka wants, of how they present their questions. Yeah, the questions from Izaka's the actual exam would be very, very different from the questions from the book. Yeah, so if you read the book or any books, the way that the author presented the questions would be really different than how Izaka's presented their questions. So you have to understand, you have to know how to comprehend the questions by doing more practice questions, if possible, by the book, like Izaka's official, question and answers review or manual. Okay, they have more than 2,000 questions for you to practice. While practicing the question, you could also go back and forth to check for the answers. Okay, remember, comprehension is the key. Yeah, you will need to really understand the question they are asking. And it's not about your experience, it's about what Izaka's want you to what do you call this, to answer. Okay. All right, so I think that's more than enough for the short video. I'm afraid that the video will take a longer time, so I'll have to stop now. And good luck for your exam. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and see you in my next video. Bye bye. Ciao.